This year's International Film Festival of India, women directors are leading the charge. With 9 of the 15 films in the competition helmed by female filmmakers, it feels like a bold step forward. One of the most eagerly anticipated entries was Fear and Trembling, a world premiere by Iranian filmmakers Manije Hekmat and Faize Azizkhani. Also in the competition is Gulizar, the debut feature by Turkish writer-director Belkis Bayrak. Another standout film is Who Do I Belong To, directed by Tunisian-Canadian filmmaker Mariam Joubair. These films highlight the breadth of talent and the power of storytelling in this year's competition.
That's a very hopeful and optimistic sign, particularly when world over people say that the film industry has turned out to be very gender insensitive and not very hospitable to women. When there are so many women making films, it's hugely encouraging to aspiring filmmakers, and we are also hoping that there will be a different sensibility of cinema making itself on screen. And it need not be necessarily women-centered. It can be other issues as well, but there will be a different perspective, a more compassionate perspective perhaps coming through these films.
Apart from the competition films, Payal Kapadia's globally acclaimed All We Imagine as Light became the talk of IFFI for many reasons. With a gripping narrative and powerful performances by Kani Kusruti and Divya Prabha, the film shone bright in Goa.
Payal Kapadia's film was very overtly centered on 2 women nurses. So we are used to, actually Bombay has been a part of Indian films theme for a very long time. It's a different kind of a city. But Payal has infused it with a lot of not only impersonality and alienation, but also the ways very close bonds are formed between the women workforce. And I found very interesting how 2 women, alone in their own ways, one is married, she's even more lonely than the other person, how they form certain understanding, how they become mutually accepting. Between Anu and Prabha, there's a struggle to accept each other. Finally, because they have 2 different kinds of sexual inclination and understanding also. So I find that very interesting, how Payal has brought in the larger politics as well as the micro politics, in very, very dexterous way.
While women directors are well represented, true inclusivity remains elusive. A panel at the Festival of India on Women's Safety and Cinema, moderated by actor-producer Vani Tripathi Tikku, included Imtiaz Ali, Suhasini Maniratnam, Khushbu Sundar and Bhumi Pednekar. The discussion aimed to tackle pressing issues like women's safety in the film industry, gender representation and cinema's role in shaping societal values, but missed discussing critical topics like the Hema Commission report, which exposed challenges faced by women in the Malayalam film industry.
There was a panel discussion regarding the policy making of films and then about the safety of women in the workplace, and then 2 senior artists like Suhasini and Khushbu was part of it, and they were trying to say that film is quite a safe place, and there was no mention about an authoritative report based on a study report based on the safety of women in the industry, which was not a good picture. It was, as we all know, it was dark and darker than what was being discussed and imagined. But then there was hardly any mention about that in the. Probably they tried to refrain even the voices of dissent, which I don't think was democratic at all, especially in panels like this.
Despite the strong presence of women directors in the competition, critics point to a lack of vision from the organizers. They argue this has led to significant shortcomings. While the representation of women is encouraging, deeper issues remain overlooked. This raises concerns about whether the inclusion is genuine or merely symbolic.